It was so cruel. I mean, we had little or nothing to eat. I still weep at night thinking about it. I really, to this day, I do. It was power. They wanted power over somebody or other, the church. I blame the whole church for it. I'm very, very sad. Every time I come in here, I get very, very sad.
Mary Merritt was given up as a baby by a mother she never knew. She spent 14 years in the now infamous Magdalen laundries run by Catholic nuns. The bulk of her time was spent at the High Park Laundry in North Dublin.
My name is Mrs. Mary Merritt. My name here in High Park was a tractor.
Why did you have a different name here?
Everybody had a different name. We didn't use our own names. Nobody used their own names. They took your own name the minute you walked in the door.
What happened to Mary was slavery in all but name. Young women worked to the bone. And we've heard the stories of abuse and torture and imprisonment before. But in the church, on the grounds of the old laundry, we hear about something sometimes missed. The heroic moments of individual resistance.
They gave me a name, a tractor.
When you said, did you answer to that name?
No, I didn't. I never did. I wouldn't answer to it.
Why not?
Because it wasn't my name. I wasn't christened a tractor. Whether I was christened or not, I don't know, but it wasn't my name.
And when you didn't answer to that, Mary, what was the comeback like? What was the response?
Well, they said if I didn't answer to it, I would be locked up down in the hole for a month rather than a day. We used to call it the hole, the punishment room.
And did that happen to you?
Oh, yeah, several times. I had my hair cut to the bone. Several times. I broke windows in the cloisters trying to get out. And couldn't get out, of course. The bars were there. I should have known better. The bars were there. And down again to the cloister, down again to the hole. We stayed in the hole for the day from 9 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the evening.
Mary kept trying to escape. Then, one day, when she was in her 20s, she did.
So I ended up out on Griffith Avenue, and I stopped somebody and I said to them, is there any place where I can get a place for the night and something to eat? And they said, there's a priest's place down the road, which was the Archbishop's Palace.
Yeah.
So I walked in across the cobblestones and I rang the bell, like you do, and it brought me into a side room. And he said, I know you ran out of High Park, he said. Sit there and I'll get somebody for you. So a priest came down, and before I knew it, he was raping me. And then after that, he called the police again to take me back to High Park.
Who was that priest, Mary?
I don't know, because I never been out in the world, never did know anything of the world, so I didn't even have the sense. Today, I regret that one thing, that I didn't get his name.
At the age of 31, she was released by the nuns. It was Mary Merritt who walked out the door of the laundry on that day, not a tractor.
I wouldn't let them break me, because if I always thought as I got older in my brain, in my head, I always thought as I got older, if they see me getting weaker, they'd play on it.
I see.
And I didn't let them see that I was weak.
I see.
Yeah, I didn't let them see I was weak.
But in the sort of on your own, in the dark of the night?
In the dark of the night, yes, I had. And I still weep at night thinking about it. I really, to this day, I do.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm honest.
Yeah.
Bill will tell you that.
Yeah.
I wake up in the night, and I really do to this day.
Mary also spent time at another laundry on Sean McDermott Street in Dublin. It closed in 1996. Official reports since have acknowledged that women like Mary were victims of abuse, reports that have outlined state collusion and recommended reparations. Reparation which Mary has also received. Tomorrow in Dublin, though, another chapter. A few days ago, out of the blue, Mary received an invitation from the Irish Prime Minister to Dublin Castle during the Pope's visit. The assumption is that she will be one of the survivors of abuse who will meet the Pope, although we can't be sure. If you do, what will you say to him?
Well, I'd say to him, all I want for the Magdalene women, and I'm saying it on behalf of the Magdalene women, all I need from you is an apology to say that what happened to us and hurt us very much and took all our identification away from us, we only need an apology. And I don't mean to be rude to you, Your Worship, or whatever I'm going to call him. They tell me what to call him up there. And I don't mean to be rude to you, but it would bring some comfort back to me and a little, and very little, I will say, belief in the Catholic Church.
Before we left High Park, Mary wanted to show us what the building has become. It's now owned by a charity called Respond, offering supported accommodation to the vulnerable. The sort of care she never got here.
The work that the women are doing here, it means an awful lot to
That
me.
they're delivering the care to children and families that you never had here.
That's right. They have what we've never had. And I'm so pleased to see that they have comfort here. They're looked after, they're schooled, they have everything here.
One last stop, the old Sean McDermott Street laundry, where she also spent time. 5 years ago, the Sisters of Our Lady of Charity, who ran both laundries Mary was in, said, quote, "It's with deep regret that we acknowledge that there are women who did not experience our refuge as a place of protection and care." And outside the old site, the unbreakable woman lets slip something of Ireland's laundry legacy. When you arrive back in Ireland, like you did during the week, how do you feel?
I felt fear. I always feel fear when I come back to Ireland. And I feel the fear I feel that they're going to lock me up again, if anything. And I always say to make sure you don't leave me, stay with me at all times.
You say that to Bill, your husband?
I say that to my husband, Bill, to my husband. I always say to Bill,
so Mary,
make sure you stay with me at all times. I got terrible fear in this country that I'm going to be locked up.
Orica Bryan there. Well, I'm joined now from Dublin by Michael Kelly, who is the editor of the Irish Catholic newspaper, Reverend Dr. Michael O'Sullivan, and Dr. Maeve O'Rourke, a human rights lawyer with the Irish Civil Liberties Council. Michael O'Sullivan, when you hear the stories of women like Mary from the laundries, raped by a priest, abused by nuns, and there are so many Marys, so many victims of abuse at the hands of the Catholic Church, you might wonder, why would anybody come out to see the Pope tomorrow?
Yes, it's absolutely shocking, and really there are no words to respond to that situation. It's just absolutely shocking, very upsetting. I suppose we have to look and hope that we can now move forward, and that the Pope can somehow, by coming here, take it as an opportunity to move us forward, to see that this doesn't happen into the future, because it is absolutely shocking. And personally, I find it very hard to grasp how such atrocities and tragedies could have occurred and on such a scale. Certainly, it's not the vision of Christian faith as it should be lived. It's not what Jesus certainly shared with us to live out afterwards. So it's completely inauthentic as a way of living Christianity, needless to say. And I believe that there is another form of Christianity to be lived, an authentic form. And I hope the Pope can help us to see that and to be able to be motivated to live that.
Dr. Maeve O'Rourke, you've worked with survivors of the laundries like Mary. The Church has said sorry in the past. I mean, is that enough? Can that ever be enough?
It's not enough. An apology is only the very first starting point. There has to be accountability. The Church and indeed the state are still protecting each other in Ireland by keeping all of their records secret. The archives of the Magdalene laundries, for example, are completely sealed from public view. The Department of the Taoiseach is at the moment keeping its own archive of state documents relating to the Magdalene laundries secret. They're not FOIable. Likewise, the Church only agreed to participate in the state's inquiry into state interaction with the Magdalene laundries on condition that it would destroy all copies of the records it gave it and would give everything back to the religious orders at the end of its inquiry.
Michael Kelly, that does not sound like a church that is sorry, that is truly keen to make amends.
I really hope Mary has her opportunity with the Pope on Saturday at the state reception to tell him of her experiences and to get that apology. We have had lots of apologies in the past. I think what we need to move now to is concrete actions, concrete gestures, whether that is the files, whether that is further recompense, anything that is necessary there, anything that the survivors feel the need to give them some more peace, because this is just a devastating chapter in our history. For a long period of 20th century Ireland wasn't a very nice place to live if you were in any way different or you stepped outside of societal norms, and there was that cozy coalition between.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you're saying it wasn't a very nice place to live, and that was ostensibly, many people would argue, because of the Catholic Church. How does it continue to have any sway in Ireland? Does it continue to have any sway in Ireland?
I think it was because of a kind of cozy, consensual relationship between church and state at the time. It suited both. The church lusted after power. The new state, the emerging state, was very, very poor and needed someone to run the institution. So it ended up with that just terrible symbiosis, which has done so much damage. This event, Pope Francis in Ireland for the weekend, they reckon about 750,000 people will turn up. That's going to be the largest event in Europe of its kind this year. The faith, it continues to play an important role in the lives of many, many people. Ordinary Catholics are going to be here where I am in the Phoenix Park for the Mass on Sunday. They're devastated by these revelations. They're sick, sore and tired of their church constantly mired in scandals of its own making. I mean, they're going to be looking to the Pope. They want the Pope to give a message of hope to the country, particularly the survivors, but also to address just the wider sense of betrayal that is felt in Ireland.
Michael O'Sullivan, the problem is, it would appear that these are not historical events, are they? We heard how one of the laundries didn't close until the late 90s. And it is the cover-up as much as anything else that has absolutely poured salt into the wounds. The Magdalene laundries, babies' bodies left in septic tanks, all of it covered up in the name of the church. Where is the evidence, would you say, that the church has changed?
Well, I think the Pope himself is a good man and is committed to changing things. And once he gets to see a situation that needs changing, he really does put himself behind it. He has a history in, say, in Argentina of great concern for people who are poor, people, sexual trafficking as well of women. And he really went behind those issues and pushed forward on them. And I believe that he is now learning about the extent of this terrible tragedy and set of atrocities that have occurred not only in Ireland but throughout the world. And I believe that he has signalled his intent to do so in his recent letter, to have nothing barring us from going forward to address these situations and the cover-ups and that. And I believe we will see concrete steps being taken by him into the future.
Maeve O'Rourke, do you accept it's a very different Ireland than the one the last Pope saw? Do you accept this is also a different Pope?
I mean, I'd be convinced of that if I saw him give an instruction to all of his bishops in Ireland to immediately open all of their archives to the public in relation to these institutions. There needs to be a place of national commemoration and education. For example, this Magdalene laundry right behind us, Dublin City Council wants to sell it to a Japanese hotel chain, 2 acres for €14 million. It is the only Magdalene laundry remaining in the hands of the state. I think the church in Ireland and the state need to get together to right this wrong properly in the form of accountability and education.